Okay, this is an Admiral black and white TV set. The chassis number is a 30A1. It's a pretty early Admiral. A friend of mine picked this up for me. I've had it in storage for a while. I'm just now getting to work on it. So I figured I'd take the back off and get a few picks before I fire it up. And before I got too far into it, I noticed this tube right here. It looks like it's a damper tube, maybe. I don't think that's the horizontal oscillator. No, I see that in the back. That damper tube is white capped, so before I even apply any power, I'm going to go ahead and replace this. My buddy had already tried it out and was able to get a raster, but that was like probably nearly a year ago, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that tube. I've got my variac, my meter, AC amp, and my RCA voltmeter here, and the plan is to power this up and just check for overall current. I mean, I don't know what it should be, but I'm guessing probably around 200 watts. So, you know, if I start going over that quickly, I'll just stop and do it. But I like to baseline things before I even touch them, especially since he had already had this powered up about a year ago. And like I said, it did have a raster, so we'll go there and see how it works. Here's an overall view of the set. It's one of these I call the proboscis set because of the funny way the front pokes out like that. Anyway, here it is. It's in pretty good shape. Yeah, I'll get better pictures of it later when I get a good angle on it. But let me replace that tube, and then I'll do some more testing, and we'll power it up and see what happens. Alright, sometimes it pays to make sure you have the right tube. I had a 5Y4 replacement, should have been a 5V4. I'm using this 5U4 because that's all I have. It's apparently okay to substitute, but I don't think it's a good idea to use it long term. But I've got high voltage now, and I've got a raster, and these bars are probably got something to do with the wrong tube in the damper circuit. But at least we've got high voltage in a sweep. I have no sound at all, so I don't know what's going on there. And I checked the speaker for continuity, so something's up, and there's no signal getting through. But we're getting somewhere. More to come later. Okay. I've got pulled the chassis. Clearly somebody's been into this and done some recapping. It doesn't look too terrible. They use term strips here, which is a good thing, rather than flying leads. It all looks fairly recent. I don't know, it may be okay as is. I would have preferred to have just removed these caps and restuffed them, just because it keeps the lead dress the same. Because now I have to wonder if this was done right, or, you know, did this set ever work after the recapping, or was it a recapping going bad? And you know, so I'll end up studying the schematic and see if it looks correct. If it's correct, I may leave it, even though I don't like having term strips and under chassis caps. I prefer different stuff, but I'm not going to go through the effort of undoing this work if it's done right and, you know, electrically. So I'll just live with it. I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't get a signal through, and the one thing that was really obvious, was right here. There was a really poor connection where this twin lead goes into that balance, so I'm going to resolder that and check that out and see if that doesn't resolve the reception problem. Maybe something simple like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. More later. Oh, one other thing. This little fine-tuning thing had pulled loose and wasn't working properly. It's supposed to be retained by a little circlip that's supposed to be right here. It keeps this from pulling straight out. So when you pull the fine-tuning knob off, if you're not careful, you can just pull this whole thing apart. So I'm going to have to find a little C-clip that'll fit inside this groove that'll retain that properly. I don't know if there's any other problems. These power resistors look pretty suspect. Plus there's this one call resistor right here, which I think is open. So we'll come back to that more later.